Thank you for joining us for an Irish plant-based soda bread with Rashi. This is a lovely bread to go with anything. You get into it and enjoy it. Have a great day. All right, here we are in Rash's kitchen again with another one of her secret little recipes, and it's a soda
bread.
Soda bread.
So if you're Irish, you know that it's an Irish recipe, but the traditional soda bread uses oil, uses eggs, buttermilk, and even sugar. So I'm going to make, not that that's not healthy, but I'm going to make a vegan or a plant-based one that's so easy to make, really quick. It tastes beautiful fresh on the day if you eat it. If you're having it the next day, it tastes really nice toasted. It's really simple, probably about 5 minutes of prep and about 25 to 30 minutes in the oven.
Woohoo, let's get it going then. What do you got over there?
Okay, so first you've got to pop your oven on about 200 degrees, just depending on your oven, but about 200 degrees centigrade, so preheat that. As you can see, I've measured all of these out. So I've got spelt flour. You can use white flour, you can use wholemeal flour. I think it's nice with spelt flour. And then we've got the baking soda, or bicarbonate of soda I should say, sorry, bicarbonate of soda. So that's about 1.5 tablespoons. I'll explain a bit about that, or it's called soda bread. I've got my plant-based milk, so normally the traditional recipe would have buttermilk, but I'm using almond milk, apple cider, I've got a little bit of salt, and then I've got, you don't have to add this is optional, I've got a selection of seeds. So I've got sesame seed, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, about 2 tablespoons of each. And because we're not using eggs, because it's a plant-based recipe, I've made a flax egg. So in there is 1 tablespoon of flax seed meal to 3 tablespoons of water, and I've just added it, and as you can see, it's just, I think the camera can pick that up, it's starting to thicken. So perhaps do that and leave that for about 5 to 10 minutes. So to get the soda in the soda bread with your plant-based milk, you can use soy milk, you can even use dairy milk if you're not making it plant-based. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. You can use lemon juice if you don't have apple cider, so it's that's the acid component. And you might notice that the milk might curdle. Give it a stir, and that's quite normal. And you can probably see that it's starting to curdle a little bit, and that's okay. So I'm going to add the dry ingredients. So that's my little pinch of salt. You can use Himalayan salt. And then the bicarb soda. So make sure you've got bicarb soda, because what will happen is the reaction between the acid and the bicarbonate of soda, the alkaline, that's what will give it the rising. I hope.
Sounds like a little bit of a chemistry
lesson here. And then I'm just going to add my seeds in. Again, just rough 2 tablespoons of each. And then give all the dry ingredients a bit of a mix, so that everything's nice and combined. And I'm just going to make a little well and add the flax egg. And then the curdled milk. So you can add a little bit at a time and just work it in. So I think if you're traditionally Irish, you wouldn't do this in a bowl. you do it on a floured surface and make it like that, but anyway, I'm trying to keep it as neat as I can. And then as you can see, it's kind of coming into a dough consistency. I'm just going to mix it a little bit. The less you handle it, the better. So as soon as the milk with the acid gets added to the mixture that has the bicarb, that's when the reactions start. So you want to try and do it as quick as you possibly can and get it into the oven. So I'm probably just going to get in there with my hands now. Just roll my sleeves up. And I'm just lightly just using my fingers, so I'm not, it's the reason why this is a simple and easy recipe is you don't need to knead it, and you don't need to, because it doesn't have any yeast in, you don't need to let it sit and prove. So it's pretty much you add it all together and then you just chuck it in the oven. As you can see, it's just coming together, and I'm not really pounding it hard or kneading it. I'm just trying to gently just bring it all together. You can even add, I've added sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. You can add pine nuts. You can add whatever you like, really. Just going to make sure I've added all that liquid. Slowly starting to come together, and then, as you can probably see, I think the camera's picking that up, I'm going to get a baking sheet with just a little bit of flour sprinkled on. Got my handy assistant here. If you're wanting to make it look really pretty, you can use a baking loaf and it will come out in a nice loaf shape, but I quite like it just being a little bit rustic. And you can just kind of, doesn't have to be fancy, mold it as such. And then if you're in Ireland, the traditional soda bread usually has a little cross down the centre, and you can go quite deep, almost like you're going to hit the bottom but not quite, and then the other way. And what that will do, as it cooks, it will just open up, and then the term breaking bread becomes relevant. Just do a little bit more. You can sprinkle some more seeds on the top if you like. I'm going to leave it as it is, but just perhaps sprinkle a little bit of flour. And then that goes in the oven, 200 preheated, for about 25 to 30 minutes. So just check it after 25, and when I bring mine out, I'll show you when you can tell that it's ready. So I'm going to pop that in the oven, and I'll come back in about half an hour.
So here we are, Rash, back after the
30 minutes or so.
in the oven.
Yeah, and there it is. You can see it's risen a little and it's kind of broken itself.
Lovely.
And then you can just break it. So the way to tell that it's cooked is you can give it a little, and if it sounds hollow, that's generally it done. Then you can just break it. And there you go. Oh, look at that. Have it with some nice soup, or you can just cut it up and have it, I don't know, what would you have it with?
Ooh.
Butter or hummus or pesto, whatever you want to do. So yeah, you can see it's just, I've got seeds in mine. So it tastes nice fresh. If you want it the next day, probably toast it, and it tastes really nice toasted as well. So there you have it, Irish soda bread. Enjoy. And if you make it, just tag me and send me a picture of it.
We hope you've enjoyed this soda bread that Rash has put up for you to bake and to make. So just have a great day. Any questions, please ask, please subscribe, and keep enjoying life. Bye.